Welcome back, everyone. It's your favorite host, Jay, here with the Over Manga Cast. That time we woke up in a podcast and had to explain manga. Our heated adventures over analyzing manga we find interesting. On this episode, we dive right back into our over-analysis of manga with Golden Kamuy by Satoru Noda. On this episode, we read the legendary Hunter arc, chapters 22 to 29. Looking forward to jumping back into some Ainu culture and some Asirpa and Sugimoto shenanigans on this episode of the Over Manga Cast.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam, and as always here at the top of the show, we discuss our familiarity with the franchise that we read this week. Has anyone had any new experiences with Golden Kamuy, except for there was that anime. Don't know if many of us paid attention to that one. I know I didn't once I heard it was trash.
I actually did. I still haven't seen the anime, but I had actually read the first chapter of our reading prior to it being assigned. When you read a section, an arc of a manga every week, it's hard to weave things in at a reasonable pace, especially when there are so many good ones. So,
Matt, how about you?
Well, since I watched the anime that came out like 3 years ago, I think the arc we're reading today is past the point I got to initially when I was this. So this was all fresh material for me.
All right, and Jay.
So I too watched the anime years ago, and this is a fresh slate of reading.
And we kept it a little short. We had a little, basically an interstitial arc here, but we open up after our previous adventures with Sugimoto doing fairly well after the way the previous arc ended.
it's that thing that JoJo's satirizes. I mean, to be fair, that's actually kind of part of Sugimoto's character in that, like, not like he has a supernatural healing factor, but like his tenacity and durability is kind of like the thing with him. But
Sugimoto and Asirpa are making their way through the forest, doing some deer hunting. Sugimoto's being a chibatic as he's too large to walk on the crusted surface of the ice.
Yeah, his feet keep sinking in because he doesn't have snowshoes and is like 3 times the surface weight.
This opening bit of our reading is the Golden Kamuy classic, where we're not currently involved in some sort of high drama swashbuckling adventure. So it's time for survival tips and anthropology lessons
about the wilds of Hokaido.
And also, like, it just becomes a cooking manga for like half a chapter.
I ain't mad at it.
As it does. Older brother, younger sister / father-daughter banter between Asirpa and Sugimoto.
He's hogging all the water rations.
Almost entirely just to spite Sugimoto, because I actually don't know why she's being mean to him right now. She might still be mad because he left.
They have a great back and forth where Asirpa's doing like her whole thing about like, oh, you Japanese don't understand how to live in the like mountains like we Ainu do. Don't worry, I'll walk you through this. If you want something to like quick boost energy, just take some of those pine needles and chew them. It's like, this is really bad. This isn't good. And Asirpa's just like, nope, can't handle it. And it's just like, no, wait, this is just really bad. It's like, well, yeah, we normally eat these in the spring. And it's just like, so you don't know what you're doing at all then. He's like, shut up.
Which then parlays into the kerfuffle about water.
It's a good little bit of banter and antics to keep things lighthearted after last time. The deer tracking continues, and here's where we finally get a bit of our drama going because they they find the deer, and Sugimoto goes to take the shot, but he misses the vitals and just injures the animal without killing it, and it runs off.
You're not trying to dart it, Sugimoto. As someone who's done a little hunting in the past, that I've never actually done this to an animal, but I just know that's the worst feeling in the world. Boy, the rest of the motivation for Sugimoto in this section of the story is all revolving around his guilt for wounding but not cleanly killing an animal, which is a great moment of characterization for him. It's one of those ones where it doesn't tell us anything new, but it reestablishes and reinforces an important element of Sugimoto's character that he, despite what he might try to pretend otherwise, he's human deep down and a good person ultimately.
Allegedly.
No, he's probably made of tougher stuff.
Exceedingly determined to track down the deer and finish it off.
And with that, we cut over to a different group.
Yes, our antagonists for this arc, which Asirpa notices that there's another set of human tracks in the area, except one of them has a really weird gait. It's like he's walking with two sticks, almost as if his legs are messed up, like that soldier that they fought earlier. Oh no. Our antagonist is indeed Tanigaki, one of the soldiers from the bad guy squad, and a new mysterious man who's got like weird fire hair. I know it's supposed to be like graying, but he looks like Tanjiro.
It looks like fire hair. Yeah. And he also has a doggo. It's a cute dog.
Special doggo.
And we learned that this guy, Tetsuzo Nihei, is balls of steel. This man, his specialty is hunting bear, to the point where he has taken down like 200 freaking bear over the course of his life. Even Tanigaki's like, my like culture specializes in hunting bear, and even I've never gotten that many in all of the like hunting parties I've ever been a part of.
Well, maybe it should just be better.
Yeah, that's sort of.
Have you tried that?
That's sort of Nihei's perspective.
Skill issue.
To be more fair to Nihei, something that becomes clear over the course of this arc is that certainly this is absolutely true from a metaphorical sense, but it almost kind of feels like there's an edge of literal to it. Nihei isn't really human. He's more like an animal of the woods like the bear are. So it's really more a challenge between peers rather than a human hunting an animal.
Yeah, I love this guy. He's freaking nuts. He hunts bear specifically to trade their fur, and also just for the thrill of it. He's so incredibly confident in his technique and how thoroughly he understands bears that he uses a very suboptimal weapon. It is a single-shot rifle. And he is so confident with this that he doesn't even hold extra bullets like in his hand in case he misses. Because he's like, well, if you have extra shots, you're just going to assume you've got 5 chances. No, you've only got 1 chance, so I only need 1 bullet.
He points out the true element that if you miss the first shot at a charging bear, you're not going to have the chance to reload no matter what kind of weapon you have. So you'd better hit that first shot or you're dead regardless of how many bullets you have clenched in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Is the correct approach for anyone who is hunting any type of bear, particularly grizzly or any type of larger bear. I'm not talking about just black bear here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mess around.
These are brown bears. They can't climb. Their defense mechanism when something threatens them is to kill them faster. So,
yeah, we get a
look.
Great...
Just every time I go out into the wilderness hunting bears, I always drop the other 5 bullets out of my revolver and just go. One shot,
exactly.
got 1 kill.
It's great. There's this great panel where he sends in his dog, an Ainu hunting dog, specifically trained to fight hunt bear. To flush bears out. He sends in the dog. The bear charges from the cave, and he was standing right at the cave entrance, so the bear rears up on its hind legs like, what the hell? And the panel of him against the bear, it's like head and shoulders bigger than him. It's got to be like close to 8 feet tall on its hind legs. It is an intimidating shot, and he does not flinch.
His face is completely passive.
You got to do it or you don't do it. You either shoot the bear or you become bear.
Exactly. This is where we learn that this man is a freaking maniac. This is slightly later during the cooking segment of our reading. He talks about how much he loves consuming the kill of the bear because of how bloody it tastes.
He makes blood sausages.
Mm-hmm. And screaming about how the thrill of hunting gives him a hard-on.
It starts off by saying his hunting spirit is throbbing, and it gets more phallic the longer the arc goes.
I legitimately, for the longest time, thought there was like some romantic tension building between the two of them. Between one-sided romantic tension from Nihei towards Tanigaki.
Yeah.
Because like he is constantly like, yeah, man, I'm getting real feisty right now. How you doing? You enjoying the hunt? Yeah. You want some of this meat? And it's like he's coming on real strong.
There's one point where they're talking that he's like, so what's your plan when you're done recovering from your wounds, Tanigaki? Are you gonna hang around with me? Because I'm not looking for a lover.
Yeah, I was kind of like of the mindset of either they're trying to introduce homoeroticism, or better yet, this guy's just a huge troll.
I think either read is valid, and I think that's actually true in universe, because Nihai, the way he's presented, it almost feels like he is trolling, but if Tanigaki said yes, he'd be down. Like, that kind of is how it feels with this guy.
I mean, like, there's another scene later where they're like bathing each other, and he just makes a comment. It's like, "Oh, hey, don't worry, it's just cold out here. It's normally bigger." And I'm like, "Why? Why would you ever say that unless you were trying to have sex with this man?"
I mean, you just hanging out with the boys, and you just have to defend the fact that you're
I was in the
grower
pool.
and not a shower.
I have never had to defend that in such a way that I say, "Don't worry, it'll be bigger later." That's just not how I defend myself.
Just that's the way he phrases it. It's not just like, "Oh no, I was in the pool." It was, "Don't worry, it gets much larger. It's much more magnificent."
Dude, wasn't even looking.
Nihei's desire to be with a man aside, the two of them are out there hunting the great white wolf. Is the main deal they're doing together. The bear was just side benefits.
Yeah, the bear is a normal day out for Nihei. He wants to be the last person to see a Hokaido wolf alive.
Meanwhile, Tanaгаki's just like, "That wolf screwed up my legs. I need to kill it."
Yeah, pure vengeance versus like idolation. Very different.
And of course, we are like, "Wait a minute, the white wolf, that's our buddy Ratar. We can't have anything bad happen to him."
He is too good of a doggo.
Geralt of Rivia, what are you doing here?
Damn portals.
But anyway, we cut back to Sugimoto and Asirpa.
Still tracking the deer. They had to bed down for the night because they were too far away from the hut, and they still had to track down the injured deer.
They had to complete the hunt.
Asirpa is using droppings to track the deer and keeps telling Sugimoto not to eat them.
She keeps handing him the droppings. It's like, "Now don't eat this.
Don't eat this. I know you guys love to eat shit, but don't eat this."
She has a cool little bit on Ainu culture about like the nature of deer to them. How all other animals are like Kamuy. Deer, they use a completely different word. Yuck, I think.
Yes.
Y-U-K. It might not be pronounced that way. No idea. But it's a word that means like prey, and that deer have been gifted by the gods for mankind to eat. And that in the early days, deer were so plentiful, people would like put their pot on the fire to warm up before they went out hunting, because they would just find a deer like immediately and bring it back. and that as deer
like being able to
have
go
dwindled,
out into like your refrigerator and just bring out like a steak.
and as the deer have dwindled, they've become harder and harder to find. And the Ainu are saying that's because the gods are no longer replenishing the forest with deer because they've done something to anger them.
They didn't respect the deer because despite them being yuck, they're still, a gift from the gods.
You took them for granted, and now they're not going to come back.
The big thing that historically happened is that there was a particularly severe winter around the time that Japan was integrating Hokkaido into into the nation, and the winter plus the extra pressure from hunting was enough to savagely cut the deer population, which is also why the Hokkaido wolves ended up going extinct, because the Hokkaido wolves had fewer wild deer to hunt, so they started going after livestock. And when a predator attacks human livestock, they are immediately put on the endangered species list or worse.
Mm-hmm. I did think it was kind of morbidly hilarious when it was pointed out later in the arc that the real killing blow to the Hokkaido wolf was an American rancher went to Hokkaido and came up with the most efficient way of killing the wolves that were feeding on his livestock, and just spread the information around. It's like, God damn it, of course an American was responsible for that.
There's a metaphor in here somewhere.
With our antagonists hunting after Ratar and our protagonists hunting after that deer, and also Ratar's friends, the collision course is now obvious. Cannot escape from crossing fate.
We get a pretty cool scene of when Sugimoto is setting up to finish off the deer. He sees the desperation in the animal's eyes and ends up seeing himself in it as it charges him.
Yeah. Embrace it.
Importantly, this comes after they were camping the night before. Sugimoto had a nightmare that was basically a war flashback about his determination to stay alive. And I really loved this because it was a great page turn as Asirpa flushed the deer and it was charging out. Sugimoto went to go shoot it, looked it in the eyes, and it's this like straight on POV shot of the deer, page turn. It's a POV shot of Sugimoto, and he's got the like horizontal bar eyes of the deer. It's a really good panel.
Yeah, the idea of Sugimoto is perhaps for the first time, because of all the reflecting that he's been doing on this journey with Asirpa, is sort of imagining what it's like for other people to be dealing with him. And he freezes, which is very uncharacteristic for him. The deer almost gores him because those are Sika. Yeah. Sika are very, very scary. I
think could have screwed him up.
Oh my gosh, I just noticed this really cool detail. My family used to raise Sika. I know a little bit about this breed of deer. And one of the things that's scary about Sika is they don't, when they lock antlers, they don't like butt heads like most cervids do. They attempt to gore the other person, and the stance that deer is taking when it's trying to hit Sugimoto is exactly the way Sika try to gore each other. That's really good attention to detail.
Mm-hmm. But while he's wrestling with the deer, who should appear but Ratar, come to help bring down the animal.
Come to save the day like the doggo he is. I love Ratar.
We have another really good pair of panels where Sugimoto's having his whole moment. Asirpa comes over like, "What was that? What were you doing?" "I saw its fierce determination in its eyes. Despite its injury, it's still charged, determined to survive. It's just like me." And then immediately the next panel, Asirpa shanks the deer.
I really hope that's not foreshadowing, but okay.
Same.
But I mean, I'm just saying that was the objective, was to put the deer out of its misery. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's one of those amazing moments where, like, paradoxically, like the right thing for Sugimoto to do would be to put it out of its misery, but at the same time,
it was really cool.
Well, there's a level of empathy in he makes a connection with this animal that it wants to live just as much as he does.
And then they become best friends. And it's
also, Sugimoto's kind of going through a bit of an existential crisis here, so it's more of like a conflict of the self. Meanwhile, Asirpa is just like, no, dude, no, you're fine. Like, hey, the deer's dead. Put your hands in its guts. Feel warm. Like, it's dead. So now you can live. So you're still alive, right? That's cool. And Sugimoto's like, yeah, I'm kind of just having like a war flashback, like conflict of the self here. But yes, I'm aware I'm physically alive right now. Thanks. I get where you're going with this. Cool.
It's a very good moment. I enjoyed the entire deer hunt, and but this is where that whole crossing fate thing comes up, because Nihei and Tanigaki are like, okay, so do we know anything about hunting wolves? No, neither of us do, not at all. Okay, bait. Let's get a deer.
Yeah, they actually hear the gunshot of. Oh, I guess it happens a little bit sooner. One of the things I thought was pretty cool, how badass this deer is. The blood from its wound had actually frozen because it didn't have enough body heat to melt it, the blood coming from it, and yet it kept going. Sugimoto and Asirpa start skinning the deer, and unfortunately, because there was such a long chase, some of the meat is not going to be the best quality. They give the liver to Ratar,
who just like derps out, is like, yes.
He's so happy.
Snack.
He do a woof.
They realize that things aren't quite right, because while they do not have the our audience omniscience knowing that the antagonists are drawing closer, Ratar realizes that something is wrong and starts nudging them along to hurry it up, which is very uncharacteristic of him. So of course this must mean that something bad is happening. And I forget who posits it, but I think it might even be Nihei later on, but it's like, yes, we must give off such an intense stench of bloodlust that the wolf detected us.
And that's exactly what happened.
The metaphor will come back later. That's one of the good one-liners from this section. This section has a lot of good one-liners.
Oh yeah.
Only positive vibes. You're setting off the wolf. Positive vibes.
They're rancid vibes. So nasty, not even Ratar wants to be around them.
But yeah, they do a quick job of getting as much meat as they can. They need the they're gonna eat the brain, so they take the head, of course.
Yep, and it's very, very heavy.
Yeah, but they have to leave most of the carcass behind, which tips off Nihei that, oh yeah, I heard that the white wolf was friendly with a Ainu girl. They're probably around here too, and they might end up being a problem. This whole time, Nihei's little fluffer pupper is not having a good time because dogs don't like being around wolves. How about that?
Shocker. I wonder why.
Poor little fluffer.
Oh, there is an amazing panel when the dog Ryu first smells the wolf and he just freezes up, and Nihei just goes up to him and is like, "Hey, what's the matter, boy?" "Oh, well, nope. You're shaking. You're scared. You're worthless to me." Slaps a collar on, and the dog just full on goes, "I'm not leaving the park" mode.
He flips and full on, "I'm dragging you now."
He flips over, just gets dragged along. Poor little guy.
I was trained to flush bear, not wolves. This is not what I signed up for.
I'm not here to fight me, but stronger. Now that all of the actors are aware of each other, it begins this really fun game of cat and mouse. I really enjoyed this section.
Would you say that this section gave you a boner?
It didn't. Physically.
Yeah. It does get pretty phallic. Every time Nihei's like, "Ooh, another twist."
Hard on.
Yeah, he says that a lot.
Okay, I've never actually gone hunting IRL. You know, I respect the sport. I respect the aspects of survival. I was a Boy Scout many a year ago. I still retain some of those skills, probably somewhere back in my hindbrain. So I really enjoy the whole hunter ranger like aesthetic archetype, and this just gets really into the nitty-gritty of it with this fun cat and mouse of we have Sugimoto and Asirpa trying to basically get out of here, get Ratar out of here, and the
know
the
that
wolf
yet. They don't know that they're after Ratar yet.
True.
That comes later when our best buddy wakes up with them.
They know that somebody else is there and that they're probably dangerous and that Ratar doesn't like it. So
they don't have the specifics, but they have the gist.
Yeah, they think whoever is out there is after them because of the confrontation with the soldiers,
which makes sense.
They don't realize who the real target is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember the overarching plot.
We are kind of like in a war or something.
Over some gold.
Gold. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, remember
we were
the
just
gold.
out here for shits and giggles. What?
We forgot about the gold for a minute. They return to their hut where your boy, the escape king himself, Shiraishi, was waiting.
He just slides sideways out of the door.
I have a love-hate relationship with him.
I just love Shiraishi. He's great. He's got such a...
Literally like slithers out of nowhere. Hey guys!
His facial expression is just... He reminds me of Tingle from The Legend of Zelda. I don't know why. Just something about his face does it. And it's great.
And he comes bearing a gift, booze.
Yes.
This will have no serious consequences. Actually, it will have no serious consequences, but it's really funny.
This entire chapter starts as, it's our friend Shiraishi, to, I brought booze. Cool, let's do a cooking montage. Oh man, Sugimoto, you've really gone like full Ainu with your like meal taste. And he's just like, no, I'm just putting up with a lot of this. We eat the lungs raw. You love the brains, don't you? And he's just like, no, I don't like them.
Hannah.
As the booze gets involved, they just start acting like cartoon characters.
It's so good. Asirpa gets into the booze first and is immediately smashed because child.
They realize at some point, wait, Asirpa got into the booze at some point. Oh no.
Oh no.
She takes one bite of the what's it? It's the shitatop. The like chopped up meat, finely ground meat, whatever. And like it's so delicious, she like shoots through the roof of the building and just stays stuck in there as Sugimoto and Shiraishi have a serious conversation now that she's not in the room.
Learned that drunk Asirpa is actually really close to drunk Sam. It's just Asirpa, but more.
You know nothing of what you have unleashed.
Which in both cases I find endearing, but that's just me.
Well, she is stuck partway through the hut and not seeming to really care that much. She's just looking at the stars. It's a good time. Sugimoto and Shiraishi are talking about the plot.
Plot.
Remember the plot?
All right.
No.
Plot. Shiraishi mentions that he's got another lead on one of the tattooed prisoners in order to get the map. And it's like, oh yeah, so it's this guy who's this ridiculously skilled hunter. He's the nightmare of bears. And we, the audience, are like, oh no. And then it starts getting juxtaposed with Nihei and Tanigaki going to take a bath in a stream, I guess.
They need to wash off the killer scent. Yeah, okay. Nihei. Sure.
I'm like... This has a great scene because he's talking about the Matagi, his people, and they have a belief that the spirit of the mountain is a woman, so they need to wash off the scent of women when they go out to the mountain so she doesn't get jealous of them.
The jealous goddess.
Mm-hmm.
And Nihei's just like, oh, you gotta wash off the smell of woman, do you? And I'm like, Nihei, you're picking up vibes that he's not in that game. Better talk about how don't worry your dick gets bigger later. That'll smooth things over.
And the entire time, like Tanigaki's talking about how the female of the species is always the more dangerous one, and women are truly terrifying, huh? It's like, okay, buddy.
Because Nihei couldn't help but get naked, of course, it reveals to Tanigaki that he is one of the tattooed prisoners. He has a piece of the map.
Yes.
And Tanigaki is just about to shoot him, and he's just like, do it. You won't, because you're totally game and this, right? Yeah, you're on board. And I'm just like, oh, sure, why not?
The immediate tension of the scene is, one, you're a criminal and I'm technically a soldier, so I should be taking you in. Two, my immediate superior has basically gone rogue to get the gold that the map tattooed on your skin points to. But that prompts Nihei to go into how he became a prisoner in the first place.
Before we get into all this backstory, get it? Backstory? Because tattoos on his back.
6 out of 10.
We're going to take a brief break, folks. We'll be back after this.
Hey, you. No. Don't look over here. Keep your eyes on the road. Got something for you. Take a listen to this.
In the newest Pokemon, they have Score Bunny, which is a starter.
What?
Yes.
Score Bunny?
So it's a fire bunny that plays soccer. He kicks balls.
He scores. Great.
Score, like Scorch, I think. Yeah. Oh, I get it. Like goal. Like Score Bunny.
Rad.
There's Score Bunny, who uses his mad soccer skills to steal, I think, like donuts or something like that.
How does he use his soccer skills to steal donuts?
He kicks it.
Oh, yummy.
The best part is, though, Score Bunny wants to go and follow Ash and go on big adventures. But
oh my
Ash
god,
is like,
Ash is still the main character of the anime?
Yes, where have you been? Yeah, so Ash is like, I'm getting on the train, I'm leaving, Score Bunny. And Score Bunny's
is it
like...
because he's 80 years old, that's why he sounds like that? Nothing makes donuts taste better than a foot coming in contact with them. If you like what you heard and love co-op with your friends, check out Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast. That's Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast.
When we get back, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about. It was during the cooking segment.
Oh yes.
But it's like it's like in the middle of all the talk about bear hearts and blood sausages. Tanigaki and Nihei get into this like debate of like, so are you really gonna go back to the military out here with your little soldier boy uniform wearing that cap, huh? You really gonna go back to civilization? Or are you a hunter like me searching for your prey? And then Tanigaki throws his hat in the fire. It's really good.
Metaphors.
That is really good.
Yeah.
Also, you just said it right now, so you can just cut this in.
I can.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the show, folks. Where last we left off, we were with the antagonists in a one-sidedly homoerotic bathing scene. I shouldn't have said stroke. / backstory dump.
There was stroking, don't worry.
Oh, yes.
Nihei
yes.
gets naked because Nihei.
Hey, don't
Yeah.
stare
Well, because
like
they're
that.
bathing.
Yeah. It's cold out, so that's why it's all shriveled up. But don't worry, it gets much more magnificent.
I didn't know we were participating in a dick measuring contest, but apparently we are.
Oh, there's no contest.
Everyone's a winner with my blood sausage.
Oh my god.
I would buy it.
Oh god, let's move on from this.
Yes, please.
I am so glad I'm a hermit.
This guy's a hermit too, Jacob. I'm not sure that's the brag you think it is.
You could go into business together and just sell hermit sausage. And yes,
No.
euphemism
We're
implied.
moving on.
So, meanwhile, back at the ranch,
Makes it even worse, Sam.
18 naked cowboy and Asirpa, having overheard the the conversation about Nihei, is like, hey, wait a minute, I've heard that name before. Sugimoto pulling her out of the hut she's still stuck in.
Yeah, we get it's mostly Nihei telling the story, but Asirpa's father actually intersects with Nihei's history
At one point,
indirectly and very briefly. Nihei, before he was a prisoner, was out hunting bear. There had been a group of, I believe they were Ainu, who
I think they were just random assholes.
Well, whoever they were stealing from other hunters. Someone would kill a bear, and then these other guys would either assault or outright kill whoever it was, and take their kill.
Yeah, so poaching,
murder, robbery, the whole 9 yards.
One day, they stumble across Nihei, who they try to shoot him. I don't know if it's a warning shot or if they just missed, but Nihei turns around and declares to them, if you're going to hunt me, you'd better be ready to end up as animals. So he basically said a Nihei sentence and then picked up a tree branch and started walking towards them to club them to death. This succeeded for two of the three of them.
Because I was about to say, it's a warning shot that goes through his hair, so I think they were shitty marksmen.
Yeah,
I think so.
You threw the first punch. I didn't start this fight, but I'm gonna finish it.
But the way that Asirpa actually intersects with this is that while the poachers were out poaching, when they heard about this, Asirpa's father carved a symbol into a slain bear, and then basically left it there as bait for the poachers. Hoofed it back to town and informed a fur trader, yeah, that's the mark I left on that bear. They are poachers and scalawags. And they were run out of town, at which point they ran into Nihei, and everything went downhill for them.
Nihei is able to kill two of them, but the third one gets caught because of Asirpa's father, which should have been the end of the story, but Nihei decided that wasn't how the story was going to end.
It's so freaking metal. Because, like, the guy is captured by the police. He's tied up. He's on the ground. The cops are like, all right, sir, we understand that you've had some history with this man, but don't worry, we'll take care of it from here. Hey, what are you doing? You can't just walk towards him like that. Somebody stop him. What's he doing? And then Nihei grabs the guy and twists his head like 180 degrees around.
They at first tell him to drop the club he's carrying that has the blood of the guy's compatriots on it. I'm pretty sure the cops knew exactly what was going on and were going to let that one slide. But Nihei does drop the club only to snap the guy's neck, at which point he is promptly arrested.
Yep.
He says, quote, "But I am not a bear. I am a human being, and human beings have human laws," which ends up being very thematic for Nihei.
Mm-hmm. They did not follow the law of the mountains, so that's why I got arrested.
That's enough for Tengeki. They continue working together, not necessarily as closely as one of them might like, but hey, can't win them all.
That's also why he didn't, just friggin' murder Nihei and take the skin. It's like, this guy, I kind of like the cut of his jib.
He is completely batshit insane. And also, I kind of like the cut of his jib, so I'm just gonna not go there.
This is the kind of man I want to sit up in a tree with and watch a deer carcass all night.
They then proceed to do that.
Yes, because their master plan for getting Ratar is Asirpa and Sugimoto did leave like half a deer carcass behind. So they're like, well, obviously the wolf will come back for that. So if we just hang out in a tree, the crows and the foxes will get at it, but the wolf will have to come back at some point tonight, so we'll just watch, so it'll come back before the other scavengers get at it. And so they sit up in the tree all night, and Ratar never shows up, and they're like, wait a minute, no other scavengers got at it. What the hell is going on? And they walk over and they check out the corpse, and there's wolf shit on it.
Ratar is taking deuces!
And it's like, oh, no animal would go near that because it's got a lot of wolf scent. So the wolf realized this was a trap and spoiled the trap to waste our time. Oh, this wolf is insanely smart.
And we get another immortal line from Nihei.
Yeah, Tanigaki is like, this is terrifying. And Nihei is like, this hunt is so exciting. It's given me a raging hard-on.
He literally says, "My hard-on is out of control." This is the point where you realize that no, that wasn't a metaphor or a mistranslation before. He just can't stop talking about his dick. That's just the thing that's going on right now.
He gets erect and he screams hard on.
Hey, I have a boner.
Like, he's just using the advice he would want. Like, if a guy came up to him and kept talking about his dick, he'd be all on board. So he's just like, I know, Tanagaki will like it if I just keep talking about my dick. Oh, this episode's gonna be explosive.
Probably.
I mean, he made it that way.
We are unfortunately just living in Nihei's world.
Yeah, that kind of is how it goes with this arc of Golden Kamuy.
No one can say Golden Kamuy isn't classy. This little arc we've read has had nothing but dick and jokes. Like,
Yeah.
top tier.
I'm just saying, you've been had when literally a wolf just drops deuces on you and just says, "I'm not playing your game."
The thing that I love, though, is that this was actually a Chekhov's gun moment because you remember what I mentioned earlier about the American who figured out the best way to kill the wolves. What he was doing was he was putting out poisoned meat that he had baited with deer pheromones so that wolves would come up, eat the meat, and die of the poison.
Yeah, he had laced it with strychnine.
Mm-hmm. But there was one wolf, legend says, the cleverest wolf that survived that purge, who would just piss on the meat instead. And it was Ratar! So Ratar has literally seen this trick before, so this
Ratar is just ancient. We just accepted he's ancient and literally piss on your games. You don't care.
Because he is awesome.
Ratar performing bodily functions on traps in order to outwit hunters is apparently just a character trait. And I love it. He's the coolest wolf.
But yeah, so with that in mind, they have to come up with a new trap, and
meanwhile, Shiraishi finally stops burying the lead and says, "Oh yeah, and I heard that Nihei was going out and hunting for a white wolf pelt." At which point, Asirpa and Sugimoto are like, "Why didn't you lead with that?"
Because I didn't want to give you bad news. I wanted to be good and give you booze. God, worst friends ever.
As punishment for hiding this critical information, you must now eat pine needles.
Yes.
Anyway, we come back to the power couple, Nihei and Tanagaki. They've got to come up with a new plan off the back, and Nihei's just like, well, here's the thing. I think we're too excited. I think the wolf can smell our bloodlust, and I'm going to tell you the story, because one time...
I think someone is too excited.
One time, I was watching my daughter, and a hornet fell on her head, and I could smell the change.
By the way, this daughter is the ugliest child I've ever seen, ever.
Well, you haven't seen his wife, because he just then, like, I could smell my emotions, and I'm like, I guess animals can smell emotions too. And Tanagaki's response to this is like, wait, daughter? Wait, you have a wife and kids? And he's just like, yeah, dude, were you not picking up that vibe from everything I've been putting down? He's like, no, quite the opposite.
Ever since I became a murderer and a mountain man, I haven't seen them in like 15 years.
No, he hasn't seen his wife or his 15 children in years. I also read that panel the wrong way.
Oh my God.
Here's my theory. My theory is my man here crushed so much puss, he got bored of it. And now he's playing for the other team.
Man's literally said, I get so much pussy, I moved on to dick.
I don't know. So, I think it's the fact, because he also alludes to, like, later on in the reading, he goes on, like, how women are so terrifying and oh my gosh. I actually think it's the trope where he has all girls. And so literally you have a wife and you have 15 daughters. You don't get to talk about guy stuff or dicks. So now he overcorrects for it to the point where it's
having sex with men. You're right.
Anyway, they're planning on trying to trap Ratar.
It's actually a fairly ingenious plan.
Because Nihei's genius previous plan of washing the killing intent off, because that's definitely what he was doing that for, didn't work. They're going to use the scent of killing intent to their advantage. One trait that was actually part of the reason why wolves got domesticated into dogs is wolves are very curious. So they're going to intentionally leave something behind. And when Ratar is paying attention to that, he will have worse situational awareness. And that will be Nihei's chance to get a shot at him.
Mm-hmm.
And we get one of the most exciting action scenes in Golden Kamuy yet.
Oh yeah, this scene is so good. Our heroes are going out to find these guys and stop them and save Ratar. It starts off with as part of like a way to I think it's a way to lure out Ratar. They burn his feces. That smoke signal allows our heroes to zero in on them. So Nihei is up in the trees, trying to suppress his killing intent. And is so busy paying attention to the trap, because Tanagaki's the one who's going to be wandering by and drop something for Ratar to sniff at. He doesn't notice Sugimoto and Asirpa sneaking up behind him.
Asirpa actually split off because at first they were curious about what Tengeki was doing, but Asirpa realizes what's going on as she's heading towards him, sees the trap for Ratar, and actually notices Ratar about to take the bait. And I mean, like, I think one of the important things is, strictly speaking, because in real life the Hokaido wolves are extinct, Ratar does not have plot armor. I'll bring this element up again a little bit later at the climax of this arc, but Ratar doesn't have plot armor. He shouldn't be alive, so the story, strictly speaking, can kill him off.
Should be most tragic.
I don't want that. He is good doggo. So the tension as he steps out to sniff the mess kit that had been left behind, that suddenly gets hit by one of Asirpa's arrows clanging into it, causes Ratar to flinch just barely out of the way and not get shot in the neck.
It's
such a good panel.
Yeah, because you see Ratar's fur just like poof out.
It's a good thing he's very fluffy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And that's when Sugimoto holds a gun to Nihei and is like, all right, you're going to put down the gun and we're going to copy down the map on your skin and we're all going to move on and have a nice day, right? Ha. I would never give up the hunt. Where's my hey, wait a minute, where's my dog? And then Ryu.
We get honestly, it's a line we've heard before, but we get one of the coolest one-liners from this section. Nihei is saying that he, let's see which one of us will survive this context or something to that extent. With an absolutely amazing panel with a great look in his eyes, Sugimoto says, "Bring it on! I'm immortal!"
One of my top 10 anime fights, Shiraishi versus Ryu. He just grabs that dog and yeets him off a mountain.
It's so good. I love it.
I mean, it's not good for you.
The manga has to have a panel after Ryu gets thrown off the mountain. Don't worry, he's okay, folks. He got up and just walked.
Yeah, because he's puffy and he lands in the snow.
Oh, it's a good thing dogs are floofy. But yeah, we get a badass knife fight between...
This knife fight is ridiculous.
It's incredible because Nihei goes to carve into Sugimoto with a meat cleaver. He blocks the meat cleaver and then pulls his knife and swings and cuts off four of Nihei's fingers and makes him drop the meat cleaver, and then in the same motion goes to stab him.
And Nihei blocks
the bayonet, not a knife.
Well, the bayonet is a kind of knife, but Nihei blocks the bayonet with his arm. It goes through his arm, slightly pokes into his chest, but stops, and Nihei smashes Sugimoto over the head with the stock of his rifle. End chapter. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely outstanding action scene. We also get the other top 10 anime battles of Ryu versus Shiraishi.
And I love it because it's the chapter title, and it's Sugimoto and Nihei, just like teeth bared, blood stained, conflict, and then underneath them, idiot and dog, striking combat poses.
Oh,
You know your Naruto running, right?
but in the conflict, Tanigaki managed to grab Asirpa and is holding her hostage, but what he's doing is resting his gun on her shoulder, so he's using her more as a meat shield than like gun to her head, which real hard to do with a rifle, so that makes sense. And he's just like, hey, Sugimoto, drop the weapon. Come on, we're just gonna deal with this. And Sugimoto goes, hostage? I don't give a shit about that, and throws a knife through him.
No, he enters rage mode. Like, how dare you use her as a human shield? Yeets the bayonet. Tanigaki raises his hand to try to block it. The bayonet goes through his hand and stabs into his cheek.
Look, I far be it from me to critique the physics of a series where last time somebody used a prostitute as a projectile weapon, but man, does this knife just cut through everything? Like butter, like nothing, no femur, no anything doesn't see. I don't know why they were using the gun part. This bayonet seems to be doing all the work. It flies perfectly straight, like wow.
And it stabs right through like the meatiest part of Tanigaki's hand. So like there's a lot there to slow it down. Either that's incredibly sharp, Sugimoto is incredibly strong, or both.
Look, it's cool. That's the important part.
It is very cool.
Unfortunately, whilst Sugimoto is distracted with that, Nihei is able to tackle him and put him in a submission hold. With the bad guys at a seeming advantage, they tie up Sugimoto and Shiraishi.
Tie them both to a tree.
Nihei is like, hey, she's a kid. She shouldn't have to see what inevitably has to come next. Take her away. Turns his back for about half a second.
If they didn't have the panel of his reaction, I would have thought this was really stupid, because we establish he recognizes Shiraishi as a dude who was in jail with him. Like, he calls him by name. And then he turns, he looks back after, like, remembering his daughter going like, yeah, no, she's just a kid. She doesn't need to watch me kill these guys or hear their screams or anything. Turns back. They have untied themselves and ran away. And there's just a single panel of them going like, oh, shit, that's right. Sure, right, she was there. He's the escape king. This was so dumb.
Hey, he's beating himself up enough over this.
Look, we know that Nihei's old. He's a little forgetful.
And then there's me with a literary analysis aspect of it. His connection with his daughter, who I guess wasn't a lie. There was a part of me that was wondering if any of his family aspect of his backstory was made up. But like, there's a human connection there. He's acting as a human, taking Asirpa away. That's not something a beast of the mountain would do. And it causes him to make a really stupid mistake he should have known better about. Which again is going to come up again in the climax of the section.
Poor Tanigaki. He's just having the worst today. Or the plan to get the wolf failed. He got stabbed in the hand and in the cheek, and now he's having to schlep away with the kid. She's babbling on so much that he's decided to gag her, and it's just like, shut up. I'm going to take you far away. I just need to keep moving.
This would ultimately be a mistake.
Because Asirpa notices something on the path and manages to shake loose the gag in time to say, it's a deer trap, don't walk through there, because it's a collapsed tree split into like a funnel. Too late, because he's already triggered the trap. And
as established last time, those aren't just arrows, they're poison arrows.
Yeah, specifically Aconite. They got Wolfsbane on this. It's he's screwed. Or at least he would be if Asirpa wasn't like, okay, I don't know if there's an antidote for this, because I don't know what it is or who made it. Just untie me so I can carve out the poisoned arrow head from your flesh and will pray.
And
Sam,
as
she does one better. She's like, well, this was Ainu poisons. They don't have antidotes. Really? Kind of just a whole design flaw of you Japanese and your poisons. You make solutions to them. Why? Just don't do that.
Just be
as is a bit of a theme with Golden Kamuy, when Asirpa's like, I'm gonna have to carve a chunk out of your leg just so you know, and I don't care, just do it, is the only response she gets, because that's most characters in this manga.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shiraishi is the only one who does not fall into that category.
He would be the only one that would put up a fuss about that.
With all of that, as I'm sure Nihei would love to put it, we reached the climax of the hunt.
Giggity.
Because this is enough time for Nihei to catch up with them and be like, well, I lost the other two. I can't afford to let them catch me lacking. You're down. I still need the girl to bait the dog. So come on, kid, picks her up and runs off.
He ties her to a snag in the middle of an open field so that, because he knows at this point that she and the White Wolf are connected and, will help each other. Ratar does indeed come bolting out to save Asirpa in another freaking amazing action scene.
Yeah. She's like, look, you really don't have to do this. For one, he's like the last wolf. It would be really messed up if you did this. Also, when you inevitably lose the fight, because Ratar is great, that'd make him a man killer, and that'd curse him forever, and I don't want that to happen. And Nihei's like, okay, for one, it's funny you think I would lose, and for two, I'm more beast than man, so I really don't think it's going to negatively affect his karma in any way.
Well, no, he goes one further. He's just like, yeah, I think you're really placing too much value on human lives. It's just animals fighting animals. Like, nothing makes people special, is his whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is an aspect of, he very strongly believes nothing makes people special. And on top of that, I'm not, like, I don't even give myself that distinction, even if you do care.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimate conclusion it falls on. I just love this this last chapter that we read, because like you see Ratar, he's like bobbing and weaving to not give a clear shot, and it's like here's Nihei like, this thing knows what a gun is. This is not normal.
Yeah, no, it's so cool because it's like a 2-page panel of this really dynamic like zigzag maneuver, and he's got like light streaming from his eyes. It's
so cool.
It's the most shonen this manga has done.
Actually, we were just reading Ratar shonen anime for shonen manga, and we were just along for the ride.
He's gonna go super wolf.
I want that. I want that so badly. But yeah, Ratar is able to get to Nihei and get his teeth on him before Nihei has the chance to get a shot off. One thing I like is it's kind of hard to tell how much this was Nihei blocking and how much Ratar was aiming for his arm, but Ratar doesn't like from the angle of the bite, it doesn't quite seem like Ratar was going for an immediate killing blow, which, between how smart Ratar is and the way that Nihei has referred to himself and the way that the narrative has treated him, there's almost an element of Ratar is almost more human than Nihei is.
Mm-hmm. That is a good read, and I do like it, but I think I can predict what Matt is about to say. Ratar has information that Nihei doesn't.
That is also true.
Well, no, what I'm going to say is Ratar was going for his throat was the thing. He just had his arm up against his like neck, and then he pushes him away to give himself the room to get the gun out.
Yeah, and it looks like he's got Ratar because he's got the gun like up against his throat. I win, and then another wolf from behind.
I say this very frequently, but I have never laughed harder at a panel than this second wolf coming out of nowhere to attack him from behind.
Oh my god, because it's just there. It's I win, page turn, wolf on his shoulder. Then like the wolf just like jumps off of him, tearing out a huge strip of his neck in the process.
And this point is one of those ones where we'd actually mentioned a few times the idea that Golden Kamuy is sort of like, it has Western vibes where it's very heavily mythologized, it's very heavily stylized. And there were a couple of parts where I wasn't sure which way it was trying to lean, because it got really wacky sometimes, but it had been mostly grounded up to a point. But the introduction of there were actually 2 Ainu wolves, it's like, yeah, no, there is no reality here. This is totally rule of cool wish fulfillment, and I am so about it.
I am fine with it because that was rad as hell.
It's so cool because then we immediately then get suddenly out of nowhere, like flip, and Ryu's there just barking at these 2 wolves, and
He's
just
gotta
get like
protect this person.
and like Ratar has a genuine look of like pity and concern that I didn't know was capable to draw on a wolf thing. Like,
It's so good.
He's like, oh, kid, no.
oh,
Buddy, you don't win this fight.
buddy, my bitch is right here. I'll go easy on you. She will eat you.
Uh-huh. Literally a bitch. It's a female wolf, so I'm not censoring those 2 uses of that word. Screw you.
But she is kind of a
Really? She's like, not my man. You're
Mhm.
not killing him. No, we got babies.
now he's got to come home and raise his kids.
Yeah. No, it's great because Nihei is like slumped against the tree, the like dead tree in the center of the field, bleeding out, and he's like, I guess it makes sense that your mate wouldn't respect a duel between men. Women really are terrifying.
Nihei is satisfied by this conclusion.
Because he stated this is literally the death he wanted. He wanted to go out in the middle of a hunt to become one with nature.
But he did not achieve his dream of being one.
Well, he might, because the puppies arrive. Sugimoto takes the piece of the map off of his body, skins him, and that's the last we see of him.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about how bittersweet the puppies are? Because it's a bunch of cute wolf puppies, and there's like the very like end of a like Disney era movie of Asirpa going like, "Aw, Ratar had a family. He's gonna go live with them now." And then we just get a thing like the last written report of the Hokaido wolf was a dude saying found a bunch of wolf pelts, and I'm like, "Oh, that's." Well,
in 1896, so after the story takes place. Ooh.
I mean, there were 2 reads of that, like the last recorded case, in that he didn't realize. Like, it's nonchalant, but it's like maybe he didn't realize this was the last wolf. It's just kind of like it didn't click.
It's very heavily implied that I have obtained several wolf pelts because it's juxtaposed right with the like family walking away.
Yeah. Now, I mean, like this is going back to what I was saying before. This is because there are this many Hokaido wolves walking around. It sort of like diverges enough from reality that you can, it's paying the lip service to pretend to ground this in the real world, but not get in the way of the cool moment of he's got a family. Because what's more important is Ratar as a character than the historical reality of the situation.
And we get this nice cathartic end for Ratar's character arc, where he helped out Asirpa, and gets confirmed that he has a family, and that's why he doesn't just stick around with her all the time. He's got other priorities.
He's an adult doing adult things.
Yeah,
but I like hanging out with you guys. You guys are cool.
Yeah, hang out with my human friends on the weekends. And poor Tanigaki just limps in there. His other leg is now f***ed up. Just bleeding profusely. Though it is pretty sweet because he goes over to Nihei's corpse, and there was a moment earlier on where he mentioned a custom from his people where whenever they killed a bear, they would recite a like a saying over it, be born anew in the next world and hear only good things. And he mentioned that he never once said that for any of the people he killed in the war.
It's only for bears.
And he goes and he says that over Nihei's corpse, which is either him, acknowledging another human's passing, or, more confirmation of Nihei as more beast than man. So
yes and yes.
Both are valid and incredibly interesting in their own right.
And kind of weirdly sweet. But we end with we finally get this poor man on a stretcher. And Sugimoto has taken the quest item from Nihei's corpse.
Another step in the character journey of Sugimoto, because after all of the turmoil he went through with the deer, he has a renewed vigor for completing this stupid gold hunt so that he can get away from all of this. Mm-hmm. And whether or not he's sinking back into ruthlessness, or if he's trying to escape it, is yet to be seen.
But I eagerly look forward to finding out more about it. And thus brings us to the end of our reading. So, as is typical for action-heavy series like this, favorite character and favorite fight. I think I said before, my favorite character is Nihei. I love that guy. He is just pure mountain man. He's hilarious with how just crass and forward he is, and he embodies a certain aspect of the hunter survivalist archetype that just really, really appeals to me. I am not a sportsman. I'm not a hunter in real life. I don't know why I love that archetype so much. I just do. And he just brought that to the forefront in this really exciting hunt. And yeah, his knife fight brawl with Sugimoto was my favorite fight. Matt, how about you?
Yeah, I gotta go with you that in our reading, Nihei just ate every bit of scenery he was in. So favorite character's gotta be him for this. And I am going to double down on my earlier statement. Legitimately, my favorite fight is Shiraishi versus Ryu, because he just yeets that dog off a mountain.
He does. It's so good.
Oh my god.
Jay, how about you?
This is a hard one. My favorite character, I would have to go with Drunk Asirpa.
Specifically, Drunk Asirpa.
Yes, he is my favorite character.
The fact Drunk Asirpa just goes total, I need to go now, my planet needs me, in that little hut of theirs.
And she's just literally ascended, and it just threw me.
She literally just pounds herself through the wall when she's not needed in the scene, and just pulls herself back in when she's needed in the scene. It's such a weird moment that's just hilarious.
And I just had to look at it, go page back through, because at first when you mentioned that she literally ascended through the walls of the camp, I didn't believe you. And then I'm just nope. She actually did.
Yeah, it's like when I was reading it, it didn't register, and then I realized that it's one of those ones where it didn't seem real because it was a chapter cover.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's we gotta pluck her out of the wall. She's in the wall, guys.
During Sugimoto and Shiraishi's talk, her legs are sticking out of the wall in the background.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm just saying, this beats everything. Just imagine getting so drunk, you literally go through the wall. That has happened to people on multiple occasions, just thinking about it.
Good
yes.
times.
So, favorite fight, I would have to say, it's not really a fight so much, just the back and forth kind of hunter's game between Ritar and Nihei. Mm-hmm. Just the slight escalation from trying to outsmart each other. and literally culminating when Ritar literally shits on Carcass.
I would call
just
that a
can't.
fight. It's a very good one. And Jacob.
So last time my favorite character was Ritar because he is a dog. This time my favorite character is Ritar because he is a dog. Okay, seriously. It is actually Ritar because, well, Nihei is a close runner-up because he is such an interesting and hilarious character. Ritar gets characterized really heavily here too, and you really get a sense of the, again, it's like the fictional aspect of like the dog as a character. You really get, his inner life and his personality coming through strongly in this section, and he's a really engaging character in his own right. Favorite fight has got to be that ending with Ritar bobbing and weaving to not give his opponent the clear shot, and the double wolf pincer attack, and it's just a succession of escalating epic fights, and the culmination of it all was just spectacular.
And since this is as much a National Geographic educational series as it is an exciting seinen adventure, your personal most interesting Ainu custom learned. I want to say the pine needle one because it was funny, but the one I actually thought was the most interesting was the legend of the deer. Specifically because it did that thing that you don't really think about all that much, but is just the way stories and mythology actually work, where they had the story about the deer, and then an actual series of historic events happened that caused the severe thinning of the deer population, and that's all explained. And then it's like, oh yeah, we explained that as we disrespected the gods by not appreciating this gift enough, and that's why they stopped giving us more deer. And that's just such a interesting peek both into this culture and in the broader term, in the broader scope of how mythologies actually evolve. Let's go in reverse order. Jacob, favorite Ainu custom?
I will say it was mostly character stuff, so a lot of it was front-ended. I really liked the making the makeshift shelter bit was pretty cool, but when you mentioned the mythology aspect of how the Ainu see the deer, I thought that probably would be what I'd go with, taking that into consideration.
And Jay.
So it's kind of hard to come up with one that we haven't already come up with, but I thought what was funnier was the custom, I guess you can call it a custom, that we learned, we discussed just a little earlier when we discussed that, Ainu poisons do not have antidotes because they do not believe in quitting.
But what if you accidentally stick yourself with it? That would be a skill issue.
Just don't fuck up. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't understand. When you train to walk the tightrope, you don't use a net? Why would you need a net? You're walking on the tightrope. You just don't fail.
I would simply succeed. And Matt.
I think I said earlier the legend of the deer was really good, but just to mention something different, the scene where Asirpa's trying to reassure Sugimoto about the deer being killed and how that life gives life to you, and that you are using that as you're using it as fuel for your own life. So its death had meaning, which that was the part that kind of hit Sugimoto, was oh yeah, death can have a meaning. It's not just constantly running. And the whole thing of feeling the warmth from the innards was cool.
Yep, that's a very solid pick. That's a good moment. And would you continue reading? Oh, absolutely. In fact, when we're done recording, I plan on diving right back in. I said it during the best of 2022, and I'll say it now. I freaking love this manga. This just reminded me of all of the reasons why, and screw it. I ain't going to bed yet. I'll read more.
You heard it here first. He's not going to bed immediately after recording.
That's the important information.
Matt, how about you?
Oh yeah, I love Golden Kamuy. It's a good mix of everything. It deserves to be way more popular than it is, really.
Yeah.
Jay.
Absolutely. needless to say, I've already, read more than my fair share. But yeah, it's already been said before, having been raised in a sportsman hunting culture, it kind of hits that warm spot. But it also, I'm a nerd for like different culture and historical elements, so this kind of is a good tie-in. It also has the comedic effect. I love Asirpa's faces. Just an entire like blog of just reactions can be taken from this manga. I love it. So yeah, absolutely.
And Jacob.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely continue reading. This is one of the things that I've actually chipped away at in the in-between, and I'm gonna do my level best to do that again and get even more this time.
Fantastic. All right. And with that, thank you everyone once again for listening to the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all your social medias, where we are at Over Manga Cast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also on YouTube. Go like, comment, and subscribe. Feed the algorithm.
And as always, we always appreciate reviews in any form on Podcatcher of Choice, iTunes, Podcast Addict, any of them. Or if you want to reach out to us directly, you can head to overmangacast.com. You might be there listening to this right now. Just scroll on down to the bottom. There's a little comment section. Fill that out. Send it to us. Love hearing from you. We also, if you want, can email us directly. We are overmangacast@gmail.com. If you have a recommendation for something you'd like us to read or just want to tell us we're great, go ahead.
You should always tell us we're great. We already know, but the confirmation is welcome. And make sure to tune in next week, where we're going to continue our brutal seinen adventures with more Vinland Saga, chapters 17 through 35. Who's ready for more Viking violence? I know I am.
I'm ready to dive into some Viking violence.
So, read that if you want to keep up with the show, and we will see you all next Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.